The very powerful Ultra Beasts Kartana and Celesteela are coming back to Pokemon Go in raid battles, and depending on where you are in the world, you're going to get one or the other. I will say when it comes to these two Pokemon, there is one that is going to be the high favorite, and I'm going to be talking about how you could take both of them down. Hey, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So, during this week, we are going to be getting two Ultra Beasts in Pokemon Go Raid Battles. One of them is, of course, Celesteela, and the other is going to be Kartana. Now, both of these are not going to be spawning everywhere in the world. They're only going to be spawning in certain regions, and depending on where you live, you're going to get one or the other. I believe Celesteela is going to be spawning in the southern hemisphere, and then Kartana is going to be appearing in raid battles in the northern hemisphere, which means if you live in North America, for example, you're going to be getting Kartana raids, and if you live in the southern hemisphere like Australia or Japan, you're going to be getting Celesteela. So let's talk about how you could take them down, and then afterwards I'm going to go over which of these two you need to go after. Let's first talk about Celesteela, which is going to be a steel and flying type legendary quality Pokemon. Now, because of its type combination, it will actually have a lot of resistances and only two weaknesses, which are going to be electric type and fire type attacks. You could think of Celesteela as kind of like a beefed up version of Skarmory, so you could do Celesteela raids in order to prepare for the Super Mega Raid Day, which we're going to be getting this weekend. But in order to take down Celesteela, just make sure you have a whole bunch of electric types and fire types, in particular fire types because they tend to deal a little bit more damage. Now, in terms of all the resistances, you will want to avoid bringing any Pokemon with Grass, Poison, Bug, Dragon, Flying, Normal, Psychic, Fairy, Steel, and Ground type attacks because those are going to deal little damage. Now, if you want perfect IVs for Celesteela, you're going to want to look for one that is 1772, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2216. And Celesteela is going to be weather boosted by snowy weather and windy weather. Taking down Celesteela doesn't require too many trainers. You can secure the win with 4 to 6 trainers in the raid lobby, and if you want to challenge yourself, you can duo Celesteela. It's not overly difficult. And then let's go over the best counters for Celesteela. When it comes to Mega Evolutions, you have two options, but one is a clear winner. You could bring Mega Blaziken with fire type attacks, as well as Mega Charizard with fire type attacks. In particular, Mega Charizard Y is going to be decently good, but I will say Mega Blaziken is the very clear favorite because it deals an incredible amount of DPS, and it also has access to Blast Burn, which is of course the Community Day move for fire type Pokemon. And then in terms of other Pokemon you should bring, Shadow Tarian Form Thundurus is a very solid option for electric type damage, but also Shadow Heatran is really good. But probably the highest DPS Pokemon that you could bring is actually not going to be a Shadow, and that is of course Blacephalon. Blacephalon is by far the best fire type in the game that's not a Mega Evolution, and you will definitely want to bring that. And of course, if you do not have Shadow Pokemon or Legendary Pokemon, you could also bring Darmanitan. That has always been a solid fire type when it comes to raids. Alright, and now let's talk about Kartana and how you could take that Pokemon down. Kartana is actually a much easier raid boss compared to Celesteela, but it's primarily because it's weak against one particular type. Kartana is going to be a duo Grass and Steel type Pokemon, which actually gives it a double weakness to fire type raid damage, and it's also going to receive super effective damage from fighting type attacks, but because of the double weakness to fire, you will obviously want to go with fire type Pokemon. And then when it comes to resistances, Kartana has a plethora of them just like Celesteela. Avoid bringing any Pokemon with Grass, Dragon, Electric, Fairy, Normal, Poison, Psychic, Rock, Steel, or Water type attacks. They're going to deal very little damage. And then when it comes to perfect IVs for Kartana, this is actually one of those Pokemon you want to get perfect IVs. Look for one that is 2101 CP, but if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2626. Kartana is going to be weather boosted by snowy weather as well as sunny and clear weather. Taking down Kartana doesn't require a lot. You can secure the win with 4 to 6 trainers in the raid lobby just like Celesteela, but maybe a little bit less. In fact, if you want to go with the least number of trainers as possible, it is actually possible to solo this Pokemon, but you could go with just one other trainer and you'll take it down. Now in terms of the best counters, it's kind of similar to Celesteela. Basically, Mega Blaziken and Mega Charizard Y are going to be the best options for Mega Evolutions, but Mega Blaziken, just like Celesteela, is going to be the much better option. And then of course there's Shadow Heatran with Fire type damage, that's going to be really good. And then once again, Blacephalon, that's going to be a very powerful choice up against this raid boss. And then of course, Darmanitan is going to be the best budget option, so if you do not have legendaries and Mega Evolutions that you could use or shadow Pokemon you could use, of course just go with Darmanitan. Alright, so which of these two are going to be more important? Well, it's a very easy answer. It's going to be Kartana. So for those of you living in the Northern Hemisphere, you're in luck. You will be getting the better version of the two. And I will say Kartana is by far one of the most useful Pokemon in the game, specifically because when it comes to grass types, there aren't many options, but Kartana is by far one of the best grass types in the game when it comes to raids, and if you have one that is 100% IV, you will definitely want to max it out. So this is a great opportunity for you to farm up Kartanas, hoping for a 100% IV, and if you're super lucky, you might get a Shundo, because the shiny version is available. And of course, you want to farm up as many XL candies for this Pokemon as possible so that you can max it out if you were to ever get a perfect IV version of it. Or even a high enough IV like 98% is still going to be worth powering up, because getting multiples of these with high IVs and high level is going to allow you to be very successful whenever there is a raid boss that is specifically weak against grass types. But Kartana in and of itself is a very useful Pokemon. I've used it for Team Go Rocket battles, I've used it for gym battles. It's just a very powerful Pokemon to use, and now is a great opportunity for you to pick it up, especially because next month we're going to be getting Pokemon Go Fest Global as well as the Road to Legends event, and you will need Kartana to take down some of those legendary raid bosses. So yeah, that is something to consider. Definitely raid for Kartana, and if you're living in the Southern Hemisphere, unfortunately, you will not be able to get this Pokemon unless you use remote raid passes, and that is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it might be worth doing with remote raids just because of just how great this Pokemon is. And yeah, you just simply do not want to miss out on it. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Nothing else to really talk about. Kartana is going to be in the Northern Hemisphere 5-star raids. Celesteela is going to be in the Southern Hemisphere. And if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, you will need to use remote raid passes. But if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, they're going to be all around, and you should just raid them locally. The other nice thing is, of course, Kartana is a very easy raid. You do not need that many trainers, and it could even be soloable if you have the right conditions. So let me know your thoughts regarding the return of these two Ultra Beasts down below. Which one of these are you going to be going after? Do you live in the Northern Hemisphere and are you going to be raiding for Kartana? Or do you live in the Southern Hemisphere and are you going to be raiding for Celesteela? Definitely share those thoughts and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you really enjoyed it and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that like button. That would support my channel quite a bit. And also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. And also check out the links in the description below. One of them is my Patreon page, and if you join my Patreon, I will add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, like with remote raids, make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you in the next video.